So as we talk about, let's stay specifically with anxiety right now. One of the difficulties of walking or dealing with anxiety is that there are any number of potential causes for us feeling anxious in a given moment. And so I think it's helpful if you're a person who's dealing with anxiety at this time to spend time really working through the different possibilities and the different things that might be feeding the way you feel currently. And so you want to walk through physiological factors. So I can guarantee you one thing. If you today drink 16 cups of coffee, you know what you're going to feel? You're going to feel anxious. Your body is going to respond to that with anxiety. You put that much caffeine in your system, it's going to have an effect and an impact. And so we want to attend to diet, how we're eating, how we're taking care of our body. Again, I can guarantee you this. If you haven't slept in 3 days, you know what you're going to feel? Probably anxious and depressed. Any parent out there who's dealt with, young kids knows when you go without sleep, you turn into a bit of a monster because it's a form of torture. It's terrible. So again, how's your sleep rhythm? Are you getting a good amount of sleep every night? Are you taking care of your body? Exercise. One of the most practical things that you can do right now if you're someone who's struggling with anxiety and depression is do some form of exercise. And I want to be clear. I'm not talking about some high interval crushing workout here. I'm talking about go for a walk. Like just go for a 10, 15 minute walk. It's a great way to start your day. Get out in nature. See God's creation. Recognize you're not in control, but He is, and let your body just calm down. Other factors to consider with anxiety, apart from physiological, sleep, what you're eating, exercise, relational realities. So if you've got relationships that are fractured or broken, you got a difficult family of origin story, relationships with your parents or siblings are in a difficult time or fractured, or that you just haven't connected with anybody, that you lack community. Those types of things are also going to likely lead to an increase of feeling anxious in this life. Attend to media consumption. In our day and age, you've got to spend time assessing this. What are you putting into your brain? Galatians 6 tells us God is not mocked. To what we sow, we will reap. So if the types of shows that you're watching, the type of podcasts you're listening to, the type of news outlets you're feeding yourself on, trade in fear, don't be surprised that anxiety is going to be a marker in your life. If what you're feeding your brain is this constant sense of the whole world is ending and everything is chaos, the natural emotional response is going to be anxiety and depression. So attend to the type of media that you're putting in to yourself. I'll give you an example from a client I had. I had a client that I was working with for about a month and a half, and he was dealing with severe anxiety. He would have basically panic attacks near bedtime and couldn't get to sleep, which was creating a self-compounding problem. If you can't sleep, anxiety is going to continue to increase over time. So I met with him for a month and a half. We did the Philippians 4 reality, the Matthew 6, talked about Jesus being with him, the provision. Look to creation and see that God's caring for it. Know that you don't have to be in control because your loving Heavenly Father is in control, but we were getting nowhere. And so I finally, being the good counselor I am, or lame counselor, because I should have done this way earlier in the process, asked him about a month and a half in. I was like, hey, can you just tell me your bedtime routine? Like, what do you do before you get to bed? So he told me, around 11, 12 o'clock, I start getting ready for bed, do these things. And then I, no joke, y'all, put on a horror film. He was watching a horror film every night before going to bed and had no conceptual connection to that causing anxiety for him. So I, again, being the brilliant counselor I am, said, hey, I've got this crazy idea. What if we don't do that this week and see if maybe that's influencing whether or not you can sleep and whether or not you feel anxious? Shocker of an ender to the story here. He stopped watching it and he started sleeping well. So don't underestimate the small things. What you're putting into your brain, what you're feeding your thought life is going to have an impact on your felt experience of depression and anxiety. And so attend to those realities. And lastly, the one that we're probably more commonly used to thinking about is spiritual realities. How's your connection with the Lord? How's your time connecting with Him in His Word, through prayer, through fasting, through community, through gathering together with the body of believers, which obviously in this season is uniquely challenging. But that's going to have an impact as well. If you feel disconnected from the Lord, it's going to be hard to believe that His promises are true. It's going to be hard to believe that He is in control and that He's at work. And so we want to have rhythms of spiritual disciplines that really attune our emotions to what God says is more true than what we can see and feel in the moment.